Welcome, golf degenerates. This is the first episode of Right Click Print Money. I am your host, SportsGuyTy, joined by my esteemed colleagues, Tmac and ShallowCal. Each week, we're going to break down the upcoming PGA Tour event, our best bets for outrights, top fives, top tens, matchups, props. We'll sprinkle in a bunch of the fun stuff. But gentlemen, the goal is making money. So I will start with you, T-Mac. Tell us about your podcast sauce, what's fueling the picks tonight, and give me your best golf bet that you've ever hit.
Well, I just started golf betting, so that's going to be an easy one. That's going to be Daniel Berger as an outright this last week at 18-1. I am drinking a Woodford Reserve Old Fashioned. Gentlemen, hello.
Cheers, sir. For those watching on YouTube, that is the famous country club at the Riviera, is T-Mac's background there. ShallowCal, good evening, sir. What's the podcast sauce and your best golf bet that you've ever hit?
Podcast sauce. I got the Two-Hearted Ale from Bell's. Classic. One of my favorite IPAs. Just a standard rotation here in Michigan.
Best beer 2 years in a row, I believe.
Yeah, I think so. And we got it here in Michigan. It's fantastic. Love it. Much like T-Mac, I just got into the golf betting, and with now legalized sports betting in Michigan. By the way, if you'd like to sponsor our podcast, sports betting sites, let us know.
Anyone out there?
We are open for negotiations. I will give you my agent's contact info. It was Brooks Koepka 2 weeks ago, 50-1.
Brooks Koepka, Phoenix Open, 50-1. One of my
back. Eagle on 17, and I was pumped up. Won that one. Won some here and there at a little bit shorter odds than 50-1, but that's my biggest one so far.
Okay. I was right there with you. Always fun to hit those odds greater than 50-1, and that was a good one for us on Brooksy a couple weeks ago at Phoenix. So as mentioned, I am SportsGuyTy. My podcast sauce for tonight, I'm drinking Labatt Blue Light, Canada's finest. And my best golf bet that I've ever hit is Russell Knox, first-round leader at the 2020 Mayakoba Classic, 66-1. Anytime you turn a half unit into, 3 digits, you feel pretty good. So,
yeah, I'd say.
Yeah, and as I was texting both of you earlier today, the first-round leader bet has quickly become one of my favorites in golf, and all it takes is hitting one of those, and you just can't quit it.
Yeah, I'm hoping for one this week.
Yeah, so I like that one. The one that I was really enjoying was before each individual round, deciding who was going to hit a bogey or a birdie on the first hole, and then even doing a parlay for a birdie and an eagle anytime in the round.
Yep, I like prop bets always, regardless of the sport. Golf has some of the best. I'll tell you what gets a little dangerous. If you got a little bit of free time in the afternoon and you got golf on the TV on a Thursday, you can literally bet hole by hole.
Two-hearted, and it's no. That's get the props away from me.
Luckily, I was working all weekend, so.
True. All right, so let's get into what we're going to cover here each week. We are going to give our personal betting cards. We'll give out our bets kind of throughout the show. We'll recap it at the end. But probably most importantly is we do have skin in the game. We're giving you the bets each week that we're making, that we've researched, that we feel confident about, and that we're going to put our name behind. Mostly is going to consist of your standard outright picks, your top fives, top tens, top 20s. As mentioned, we'll sprinkle in some matchup bets here and there, some props. We'll have some fun with it. We're going to use units for consistency to report our bets, our wins, our losses, and to track our totals. So, of course, a unit is your standard bet. If you typically bet $10 on a straight golf bet, then one unit is $10. If you typically bet 100, then one unit is $100. We will track it in units going forward. So with that, let's jump right into how we typically assemble our cards. ShallowCal, let me start with you first. Again, not making picks, but when you sit down and look to put together a golf card every week, what does that entail?
So the first thing that I'm going to actually look at is how many units do I want to bet? Where am I standing there? Can I afford to maybe go 15, 20 units? Or am I on a little tighter budget, going 5-10 units, and going to sprinkle a little bit less of a a little splash around? The next thing, being in fantasy golf, betting on golf, you tend to watch a lot of golf. So a lot of it is, for me, when I'm building my card, form. Who's in great form? Who's playing well? Who's doing, those things that are going to get them to that next level. And then after that, you go into what course are we playing? What kind of greens are there? Who plays well at that course? What other courses that can you comp? Where do they play well at? And things like that to kind of see and get you to the next step of where is the value? Is there a guy that plays well at this course that is low down that value chart that you think can have a better week compared to his playing partners, and see if he can climb the leaderboard, top 5s, top 10s, top 20s, whatever it may be for the course. And then I also like to go not too top heavy, good mix of mid, good mix of long shots, and that's where we're at.
All right, well, we're going to get into some of those value plays and some of those long shot picks as well a bit later, because I know you've got a couple on your cards, as does Tmac. Tmac, when you're starting your card, we know you're we know you're a prop guy. You like to have fun there, as you mentioned in the intro. Where does it start, though? Does it start with props for you? You look outrights first, top 10s, top 5s?
No, first I go immediately to the outrights and try to find the guys with some really good value on day one. I like to sprinkle in anywhere from, I'd say, like 5 to 10 units, somewhere in that outright range. Then I jump right onto the top 5s. Sometimes, like this week, I'm doing the ladder a little bit, throwing a couple people in, outright top 10, top 5, top 10, top 20. And again, I'm looking for some good value, but I also like to throw in a couple of those that I think will just be kind of no-brainers. The odds might not be great, but hey, it's money back in the bank. You take some risks. It's nice to get a little bit back. And then after I go through my top 5s, 10s, and 20s, then I look at props and have a little bit of fun with it. I like to do, is there going to be a matchup? If somebody's going to be in final rounds, things like that. So, yeah, I have some fun with it. Maybe Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say somewhere between 10 to 25 units is usually what I think I spend a week, and then, I sprinkle in a few fun ones here and there at the end.
You are listening to the Be Right podcast. No, you are not. You are listening to Right Click Print Money. I am your host, SportsGuyTy, joined by Tmac as well as ShallowCal. Gentlemen, very
You should be right, guys.
You should be right, which is also a fantastic podcast. Download that one if you haven't. Guys, I'm similar to both of you in how I'm constructing my card, at least from the start, where the first thing is every week I'm looking at what are my total number of units. I establish a number of units that I'm going to spend first instead of going in and, picking golfers that I like and then trying to assign units to it, right? So in a typical week for me, I'm usually a 10-unit card because I do like the Euro Tour as well. I'll put 10 units on PGA often, 10 units on Euro. In weeks when we don't have the Euro Tour, a little 5-week hiatus like right now, I'll usually go about 15 units or so on PGA. And the way that I've done recently is I've condensed my cards into really trying to home in on 4 to 6 golfers that I feel really good about. And I go with outright bets on them. I go with each way bets on them, top 5s, top 10s, and then I'll go with first round leaders as well. I moved away from matchups recently just because, of course, the odds aren't as good. The value isn't as good there. And previously, I like to kind of just splash with big cards all over the place, right? I'm a golf fan at my core, and so I want a vested interest in a lot of different golfers, and that's a fun way to go about golf betting for sure. And you're going to hit some big ones that way, but it's going to cost you a lot of money to do it too. I tried to shrink that down, condense it. But But whatever we're doing must be working because both of you hit Daniel Berger 18-1 outright last week. ShallowCal and I both on Brooks 50-1 2 weeks ago at Phoenix. I was on Siwoo before that at the Amex. So we are going to jump right in to giving everyone out there some winners so you can right-click and print money as well. Let's quickly preview the tournament. Genesis Invitational. We are in suburban LA. It is an invitational with 121 golfers, 120 now, minus Daniel Berger, fresh off his victory in the withdrawal. He will not be replaced. This is the last tournament in the California swing before we go down to Florida. Best field of the year by far. ShallowCal, hit us with some course vitals.
Ooh, LA, baby. This is the course. Hogan's Alley, you're a block off Sunset Boulevard in the canyon. Like, this is where you want to be seen. It's a George Thomas William Bell design in a canyon, like I said, so it's going to undulate. It's a perennial top 25 course in the United States, so it's a beaut to play. Kept up really well. Some very unique features as well. I mean, you've got bunkers in the middle of greens. You've got false fronts, bunkers bigger than greens, double fairways, drivable par fours. For every hole that goes right, you got one that goes left. There's a tree named after a famous actor there because he liked to drink under it and watch golfers play. This is great golf. At its true roots. You got a par 71, 7,300 yards. It's going to be great.
Distance matters. It's a golf course that suits the eye of left-handed golfers because a lot of those dog legs that you mentioned. We've got narrow fairways among the most difficult to hit on tour, as well as the most difficult greens in regulation to hit on tour, and possibly small greens. Possibly my favorite term in golf, Kikuyu grass this week. I've got a young son, William, who's almost 3 months old, and he does a lot of cooing, so I call him Kikuyu grass from time to time.
It's also another interesting, this is one of the rare courses that we're going to start with the easiest hole, followed up by the hardest hole on the course.
Possibly the most scoreable par 5 on tour, starting off at Riviera.
Oh, definitely. It's like 6 or 7% eagle on this hole, which is out of this world.
You got to love going off one at Riviera and having that kind of scoring ability.
I believe everybody's going F1, though.
Yeah, they should be. They should be in an invitational.
I believe they're doing that this week because you've got tee times as early as 7:35 a.m. Eastern all the way up until, late noon.
7:35 Pacific.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I threw that Eastern in there. I meant Pacific. Yes, you're correct. That would be horrific. There would be no light.
So give me some stats to consider, Tmac. But first, are you a strokes gained guy?
I am, and I think it's important this week. Strokes gained on the approach is really...
Steve Elkington, not a strokes gained guy. Did anybody see that this week?
No, I did not.
Dude. He claims that tour players don't use the strokes gained statistic. It's a total myth. It's made up. Whatever.
I focus on it for sure, and
so do tour players. Everyone does.
I don't mean to brag, but I'm at the top 5 of pretty much every leaderboard in our fantasy group. So,
So hit with some strokes gained numbers that matter this week.
Yeah, so strokes gained on the approach is definitely something that's important this week. Around the greens is super important, and of course, scrambling percentage. You want someone that if they miss that small green that you guys have all alluded to, the Kakua, they're going to be able to get up and down and still be able to, either score or, walk away without any damage done.
Yep. Strokes gained approach is huge for me this week. I need good long iron players. I need strokes gained off the tee. I need you to put it in the fairway, but I need the irons to be on point. Strokes gained approach are going to be huge. Hitting greens in regulation is going to be huge this week. Anything else for you, ShallowCal?
You guys pretty much touched on everything. I think with just to reiterate, touch on what you guys said, these greens are so small. They're very, very, very well protected by the way that this course is designed and how it plays with your depth perception. That I think you're going to see a lot of scrambling come into effect. And with the way that these guys play out of the bunkers these days, if you're up and down out of the bunker every single time, if you're up and down out of the rough every single time, you're gonna have a good time at this tournament.
Let's jump right into the odds, see if we can have a good time picking some winners. Top of the board first. Is the juice worth the squeeze? DJ at 5-1. Anybody taking him?
No.
I'm not, which is funny because usually I would just take that. I think it's 5-1, but for whatever reason I don't have him on my card this week.
So he assuredly has more win equity than any golfer in the field, right? I don't think that's a question. He's coming off the win at the Saudi International, took a week off at Pebble. I honestly think DJ is probably fairly priced. I'm just not willing to pay down that far because I like so much of the back end of the board.
Yeah,
I agree.
You're really gonna have to. It's like throwing your return on investment isn't great, is what I'm trying to get at. It's just not good enough to, in my eyes, to just blindly throw a unit at. If you're going anything less than a unit, that return on investment just keeps shrinking the lower that you go, and it's just not there for me in my eyes.
All right, so speaking of return on investment, in a 120-man field, ShallowCal, I think you have outright tickets on 117 golfers. So start us off there. Talk to me about your card, less than 30-1. Top of the board, guys.
Less than 30-1. Big baby Bryson. Let's see what you can do out here. He's coming off a little break on the PGA. He played on the Euro Tour a couple of weeks ago. Played pretty decently. Fell off, unfortunately for SportsGuyTy over there. Fell off a little harder than he would have liked. So I'm going to go with Bryson at 16-1. JT, this is my guy right here. He almost really pulled it off at the Phoenix Open after starting 2 rounds with uncharacteristic uncharacteristic bogeys, double bogeys, and then he threw a triple in there and still was only a few shots off the win. So give me JT at 13-1. Tony Finau, 27-1. It's gotta happen. It's gotta happen.
It hadn't yet.
The law it's gonna happen at some point. So he's gonna be on my board for betting and fantasy purposes this week. We'll leave the fantasy out, but my next 2, Xander Schauffele. The dude is just absolutely out of his mind right now. He's playing so well. He's had a little hiccups here and there on the last rounds, and then Vic Hovland is my other one.
Ball striker, baby.
Yeah. He's 31-1, so he's a little bit out of that 30-1 range that you said, but I'm going to throw him in there anyways because I think 31-1 is a huge value on Vic, and I think he should be more around the Tony Finau is high as better odds than him, and Tony's never won a tournament.
Vic's first time at Riviera, though. Typically not a course that's very welcoming to newcomers, but if somebody's going to succeed, he's got the profile. Long irons, ball striker.
Exactly. He's good around the greens.
All right, Tmac, you've got a couple plays closer to the top of the board. What drew your eye this week?
So a couple of things that Shallow had said there. So I had Finau at 25-1, Xander at 14-1. But then, some of those middle guys, I like Homa. He looked really great at the end of the stretch there this last week. So got him at 55-1.
Hold on, we'll get to the middle tiers.
We'll longer shots.
Oh, sorry. I thought that's where we were at here. So so those were 2 of the guys. I also think Rory's going to play really well this week. Don't have him on my card, but somebody that I'll probably get back in, look into getting a bet in on.
Yep. So I'm very much aligned with you on Rory, and I'm going to shout out Kenny Kim and Golf Bets 101 for some fantastic stats. Rory is at the epicenter of trendy right now. 8 of the last 10 winners at Riviera have finished T15, one of their 4 previous trips. Checkbox for Rory. 9 of the past 10 winners played either Phoenix or Pebble Beach. Checkbox for Rory. 19 of the last 31 winners have either won or come in second at the Masters. Checkbox for Rory. I don't like to go this high up in the board, honestly, but when I saw Rory at less than 10 to 1, that's what drew me to him. When I saw the intersection of those 3 stats, I felt comfortable enough going with him at that number. One name we didn't discuss that's not on anybody's card this week near the top of the board, Patrick Cantlay. Somebody whose odds have moved a fair amount since the beginning of the week, down now to 15 to 1 on DraftKings. Why no, ShallowCal?
You mean Patrick can't win? I'm really disappointed in him, and I think he's gonna. I mean, after coming off that first round last week, where did he
course
go?
record.
He didn't do anything. He's one of those guys for me where no real ration behind it, but I'm just not feeling him right now, and it's just not a feel-good bet. And if I'm not feeling good about a golfer and feeling good about his form, there's no way in hell I'm going at 15 to 1 odds, let alone anything less than that, anything shorter. So.
Yeah, I liked him a lot more in that 18 range. Once he started dropping to the middle teens, no thank you. I'm on Xander as well. You mentioned him, ShallowCal, 14 to 1. He's another one of those guys who just is super trendy in terms of the intersection of all those stats I mentioned earlier. Got a little bit of scar tissue based on what happened in Phoenix, but he's a guy that I think rebounds well, and this could be the week for him.
Scar tissue, baby. Phoenix, we got that 50 to 1 money, baby. Yeah,
I don't have scar tissue. Xander's got scar tissue from Phoenix.
Yeah.
All right, let's jump into more of the middle odds. Let's look down the boards a little bit. 30s to 50s. Tin Cup, only one play for you here. You mentioned him earlier. Max Homa at 55 to 1.
Yep. So I guess he's the only one I'm really going for at this. I do like the long shots, which we'll talk about in a little bit here. I like kind of swinging for the fences. So although I do like some of the other players at that range, Homa's all I've got on my card this week.
Burbank native, another guy who comes in maybe on as good a form as anyone right now, coming off the T7 at Pebble Beach. I love it. He's a local kid, played college golf right around the corner as well, and up the state in Berkeley. I think Homa's a great play. ShallowCal, you are all over this range. You got 3 in the 30s to 50s. Who's showing up for you?
Joaquin Niemann. Boy, was he close. I think he's hungry. He's been striking the ball well. I'm going to go with... where did I go on that one? You said 30s to 50s, yeah?
Yep.
Yeah.
And Joaquin Niemann, I got Scotty Scheffler at 55. Hold on one second here. Let me look.
Scotty Scheffler down to 45 on DraftKings. I like him a lot more at 55.
Yeah, I got him at 55, but I think that...
Let me throw my only one out there in this range while you're getting your last guy. That's it for you?
Yeah, I mean, I've got Paulson 31 to 1. I've got Neiman 45 to 1, and I got Scheffler 55 to 1, and those are my range there for you.
Okay, this range has shrunk a little bit. Not as many golfers in the 30 to 50s as we typically see each week. With again a field that's kind of top heavy, and then a lot of names further down the board. For me, I'm only looking at one here. It's Bubba Watson, 45 to 1. Similar to my bet on Brooks 2 weeks ago at Phoenix, coming off 3 missed cuts. This is more a play about the number of a 3-time champion at Riviera at 45 to 1 than it is about form for Bubba. But you look at Bubba's form and you dig a little bit deeper where it matters. Off the tee, strokes gained approach. He actually ranks 3rd in this field. As I mentioned earlier, super trendy. He's won Riviera 3 times, including a T15 2 years ago. He played well in Phoenix 2 weeks ago with a T22. He's won the Masters 3 times, again, a course that just suits his eye as a lefty. I don't know that I want Bubba in fantasy because he may be a little too volatile for me there, but at 45 to 1, I love that number. I'm surprised nobody is on Adam Scott this week. Defending champ, 35 to 1. Reasons why.
I actually am on him huge. I just don't have him on the card a whole lot for some reason.
Okay, so we like him.
I do.
All right. Well, how about some long shots? Let's get into a portion of the board that's really my favorite range, 60 to 1. It's funny because, this is by far the best tournament of the year so far, right? Plus 400 in terms of the overall rating for the golfers playing. And typically in those tournaments, you don't see golfers outside the 30 to 1 range win. But this golf tournament has been an exception in the past. You have almost as many long shots, 60 to 1 or longer, winning as you do those top 30 or so in the odds. T-Mac, I know that you're all over this portion of the betting board with me. Where are you going for some long shots?
I mean, I got to go with my boy Cameron Tringali right off the start here. He's been on my players to watch list for probably about 5 weeks. Almost pulled the trigger on him a couple weeks ago, and I think he had a T5, but didn't, and decided it was right for the pickings last week and took him. And he had a couple good pushes. If it wasn't for, I believe, his Friday round, he would have, I think, had a better shot at the contention there. So I got him this week at 88 to 1. Love Cameron Tringale. Corey Connors, I always like him. I forgot he's done very well for me.
Canada.
Yeah. Got him at 100 to 1. Another one that I've loved, another young guy,
One day
is Neesmith. Last week, he started out on Thursday, +2. Only golfer I thought that wasn't going to make the cut. And then I honestly wish I would have put him in over Patrick Cantlay because Cantlay, he did so well in the opening round. He did nothing else, and that just kind of rested on his laurels to keep him kind of in the top there, while all these other guys on my bench were just throwing out some amazing numbers. Neesmith, I think, looking really good. Love him at 120.
Uh-oh, Trevor, you frozen? There we go.
My back, can you hear me?
We can hear you now.
Sorry
Hold
about
on.
that. I was connected to a hotspot apparently instead of my actual internet.
That's all right.
So
hold on a sec.
what I
Cal
said
just got up. But yeah, I heard you. The last thing you said was that you love Neesmith at 100 to 1.
125 to 1.
My internet. I don't know if you guys can tell, but my internet has just been shit the past 3 minutes. I can't hear anything you guys are saying.
That's funny because I think that one was actually Trevor, but I saw you get up, and while this was going on, I was like, "Is it me?"
No, it was
me.
It's been me. I've thought it's been me that's been tripping up here.
What happened here was I was connected to my hotspot that I use in my car when I need to type up offers. And the battery died on that, so it cut off, and then I just connected to my regular one. So I'm sorry. What I said there was Neesmith. I got him at 125 to 1. Love him there.
He was an early apple of my eye too. When I saw him start the week at 151, I didn't pull the trigger at that number. I'll come back around to a few of those plays. Anybody else for you in that range, T-Mac?
Not really there. However, I do have to say Augustine. I had a 5-unit pick on him a couple weeks ago. I do like him in this tournament, so he's definitely going to be one that I just take a shot at this week.
Probably not with a 5-unit play, though.
No, probably 10 units.
Good. So definitely celebratory.
So wait, was it T-Mac's internet this whole time? Is that what's going on? I thought I was so...
It has been T-Max the whole time. All right, ShallowCal, to you, sir. Long shot, 60 to 1 or longer. What you got for us?
Let us start it off with the same the schmooze fest that T-Max got going over there for Cameron Tringale. I mean, boy, oh boy, man, clean your lips up and let's go. 100-1 is what I got him at. So I got him at way better odds than you did, and I'm all over that. I got C Woo at 80-1. So that's another good one. And then Matt Wolf 65-1 and Homa at 60-1. So let's see if we can make some things work there in that range.
You may want to see if you can cash out that Matt Wolf bet on FanDuel. Take your 50-cent loss and get him at 70-1.
Yeah, right. Oh man.
I saw him start the week at 80 on DraftKings, and I almost blind bet it before any research just because I couldn't believe I was seeing a number that long on him. But I'm a little bit worried about Matt Wolf. I'm not going to lie. That's certainly a range, though, to bet him at.
Yeah.
For me, I got three guys that I'm looking at long shot. Tmac already mentioned one of them. I actually got Max Homa a bit deeper than 55-1. Got him at 70-1. Actually pulled the exact move that I just called out to you, ShallowCal. I had him on another book. Saw him drop down to 70 on FanDuel. Pulled out on the other book. Got the ticket there. Took a very small 50-cent loss, I think it was, to cash out. But I love the Burbank native. As mentioned, very much on form. I've got Siwoo Kim as well. Woo! Triple digits there, one of the most volatile golfers on tour, but a golfer that can pop. And if you do believe in trends, he may be getting ready to hit another one. Each of the last three winners on tour are coming off a missed cut the week immediately prior. Siwoo missed the cut at Pebble Beach on the number because he bogeyed the 18th hole on Friday. So if you're looking again for those trends converging at 100-1, I think he's a play. And then I texted at least Tmac about this. I can't remember if I was texting you as well, ShallowCal. But as soon as the books opened and I saw Sung Kang at 360-1, I had to blind bet it. Number 2 last year, hasn't been in good form for whatever reason, plays well at Riviera, and I mean it's just a lottery ticket, right? For a unit at 360-1, we're going to celebrate big if that one hits. That round
Why
out
not?
long shot. Yeah, totally. Anybody else? Anybody you considered but passed on in that range?
I mean, no. Yeah. I mean, obviously lots of them, but at that one, it's not really like I'm sweating hard on passing on somebody.
Yeah. I'll hold that till we get into first round leader tickets. Let's talk top 5, top 10 plays. I know both of you are big into both of them. T-Mac, what's on the card this week?
Yeah, so both of them look pretty similar there. For top 5, I've got DJ plus 120, McIlroy plus 300, Xander plus 300, and Tony Finau at plus 400. My top 10 is basically a ladder of those at McIlroy plus 130, Xander plus 130, Finau plus 175. Then a couple other shots there. I've got Tringali at plus 600, Corey Connors at plus 700, and Lanto Griffin at plus 900.
Yep. I love laddering like that. Go ahead, Chalco.
So for my top 5, like you had said before, with the Adam Scott love, this is where my Adam Scott love comes in. I got him 6.5-1 on the top 5 board there. Then I got Xander, Morikawa, and Sam Burns on the top 5 card this week. Liking those picks, especially Burns. He's, like you said, SportsGuyTy, he's pretty volatile, but if that volatility rides me to a top
Burns,
5,
baby.
Yeah. Then I got
Bermuda Burns on POA.
only 3 top 10s this week. Finau can't win, and Brendan Todd at 10-1 actually in the top 10.
Todd, first time that we've heard his name on the podcast.
Yes.
You are listening to Right Click Print Money. I'm your host, SportsGuyTy, along with Tmac and ShallowCal. What about Brendan Todd?
I just like the guy. He's a consistent player, and consistent players tend to do well at these courses that eat players up. Not necessarily eat players up, but are unique. Because I would call Riviera a very unique course. And if you haven't played it before, it can really grind you down. But Brendan Todd is just so consistent. You know, he's making cuts.
He is a grinder, if nothing else.
He's a grinder, if anything else. So let me get Brendan Todd 10-1 on a top 10. Right click, print money, baby.
I love it. So as mentioned, the way that I've kind of gone about building my cards recently, I focus in on those 4 to 6 golfers that I really like for the outright, and then I'll essentially layer on an each way bet. So the way that an each way bet works is it's much more common in the UK than it is in the States, but it's basically a bet to win and a bet to place. So you're making 2 bets on every golfer, essentially. And most each way bets in the UK pay out to the 8th place. And what makes it an each way bet versus what we have in the States, which would be your typical like top 5s or top 10s, is that the payout is consistent at 1/5 of what the outright odds are. So if you're betting a golfer 100-1 with a top 8 each way and you're putting 2 units on it, call a unit $10. So you're putting $20 on that one bet. If the golfer wins outright, you're getting the 100-1 on your $10 plus the 20-1 on your $10 for the place. He doesn't win, but he finishes 2 through 8. You're just cashing the place on that bet. So what I essentially do, because we don't typically see each ways in the States, you know, every once in a while you can grab a top 8 each way on some of these guys, is I take my outright and I put 1 unit on it, and then I split a unit between a top 5 and a top 10, half unit on each. So I'm essentially creating that each way for a place 1 through 10 on those guys. So that's what I've done with my card again this week. I mean, my outrights were Rory, Xander, Bubba, Max Homa, Si Woo, Kim, and Sung Kang. And so I've got top 5s on all 6 of them. I've got top 10s on everybody but Rory and Xander. And that's actually going to finish out my cards beyond kind of some of the props. So let's jump right into that section of it. T-Mac, you're our guy. Start us off.
Yeah, so I've only got 3 on the card this week, but there'll definitely be more later on. So right now I've got DJ to be in the final group in the final round at plus 333. I think that's always a fun one. Kind of, he seems like a no-brainer pick for that. But also said the same thing about Cantlay, and although he was tied for, I think, second, he wasn't in the final group, so that kind of stunk. I've got DJ and Rom both to finish in the top 5, including ties at plus 700. And then I've got Adam Scott, Matsuyama, and Joaquin Niemann all to make the cut at plus 115.
Okay, I like it. A little make miss cut action in there at the end. Very solid. ShallowCal, how about you? Matchups, props, first round leaders, what you got?
You can miss me with those props. That's for damn sure. No more of those. I just did the first round leaders this week. Got some juicy ones. DJ, JT, Bryson, Xander, Colin Morikawa, all guys that I'm looking at for first round leaders, all better than 14-1.
What are you putting on a first round leader bet? How many units?
Half a unit.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm very much.
Unit, you know, I can. The first round leader tends to be a little bit longer odds, so half a unit can boost up your win quite a bit.
Yep.
Especially
I'm very similar.
Russell Knox, you know what I mean?
I'm telling you, that 66-1 helps out. I'm very similar in the construction of the back end of my card. I've got 5 first-round leader plays this week as well, half unit apiece. Joaquin Niemann, 55-1. Don't have him anywhere in outrights top 10s, but kind of how I approach first-round leaders in general. Guys that I'm interested in that I don't have outrights on and are a bit farther down the board. Checks all the boxes at 55-1 for a first-round leader. Similarly, Mark Leishman, 60-1, almost the same odds that I saw him at to win the tournament at 66-1. So he's only got to do it one time for the first round. Give me that all day. Thursday, Charlie Hoffman. Are you kidding me? At 100-1 at Riviera. That was a right-click print money bet. Matthew Neesmith. This is where, as I mentioned, T-Mac, I saw him at 150 outright. Didn't pull the trigger. The numbers dropped. Wanted a piece this week, so I got him also at 100-1 on a first-round leader ticket. And then finally, Doc Redman, 125 to 1, won the 2017 U.S. Amateur at Riviera. So again, a guy that comes in not on form per se, couple missed cuts, couple lower finishes on the leaderboard, but he's got a lot of course history, and Riviera is a place where course history and experience matters. I love Doc Redman, 125 to 1 on the first round leader bet.
I almost put that one in there too, and then I remembered how Doc Redman me in fantasy, so I didn't.
Hit or miss.
Hadn't been good lately. All right. Anything else on your cards that we hadn't covered off, gentlemen?
No, not at this time.
Yeah.
All right, Tmac, quickly recap for me how many units this week, and then just run us through where the final card landed.
So this week for final units, I had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Sorry. 6, 7, I had it looks like 22 to 25 units, something like that. And I'm sorry, what was the last question you asked?
And then just sum up your card for us, where you landed.
Yeah, so again, got some swinging for the fences guys here, but I got Homa at 55 to 1, Tringale. I'd love to see Neesmith coming out on top. Realistically, in my top 5s, top 10s, top 20s, I kind of laddered the DJs, McElroy, Xander, Finau group. And then, of course, I've got, again, a lot of those names with DJ and Rom and even Adam Scott in some of my prop bets.
I love it. ShallowCal, how about you?
So I had a 11.5 unit card this week. Big top heavy field, so I wasn't really splashing much on the outrights, although I did have quite a bit of them. I got for my outrights Bryson, JT, Finau, Xander, Hovland, Neiman, Scheffler, Homa, Wolf, C. Woo, Tringale.
Woo!
Yeah. For my top 5, Xander, Adam Scott. Watch this guy this week. Morikawa and Burns. Top 10, Finau. Can't win, and Brendan Todd. Another guy I like. First round leaders, DJ, JT, Bryson, Xander, and Morikawa. Xander. That's the theme this week, man. This guy's looking good. X-Man, let's get it done,
to you.
Swinging a big stick at 5'10", you know what I mean?
Hey, sure is. All right, I landed right in between both of you with 16.5 units this week. Again, the top of the board, I'm 1.5 units each on Rory and Xander with a top 5 each way as well at 1.5 points. I am on Bubba Watson at 45 to 1 outright. Max Homa 75 to 1. See Woo Kim at 100 to 1, and Sung Kang at 360 to 1. I've got each ways on each of those guys as well for half point top 5, half point top 10. My first round leaders: Neiman, Leishman, Thursday Charlie Hoffman, Matthew Neesmith, and the good Dr. Redman. Gentlemen, get out there and right-click print money. We're going to come back and do it again next week and see where we landed.
All righty.
Enjoyed it.
Cheers, gentlemen.